Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope and pray, inshallah ta'ala, that everybody is in best of health. Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all in His afiyah and protect us. Ameen. So ameen. Okay. So after a very, very long time, mashallah, tabarakallah, I'm here on our Thursday live. Of course, Sister Sarah had to accommodate my timings because it's usually earlier in the earlier morning times on Thursdays. But Alhamdulillah. So how was summer? School starting. Everybody's going back to school. Everybody's getting prepared for that. Parenting never stops. Alhamdulillah. The minute you are expecting to, inshallah ta'ala, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us back to Him, parenting continues in that parenting role as teachers, as mentors, as uncles and aunts, as grandparents. We're always in a position to influence our children, our young ones, to guide them, to listen to them, to understand them better. And parenting with Allah by my side, the parenting tribe is always working in our own personal lives. We are working to become um, the parents of taqwa, the parents of ihsan, the parents who are kind to ourselves. We emphasize on first being self-compassionate. We emphasize on being of people of taqwa mindset. We emphasize on how we can bring calm into our own lives, into our hearts and minds, so that we can become more calmer parents, more calmer adults to the children around us, right? Inshallah ta'ala, bi'iznillah. So today, alhamdulillah, like you've read the email, inshallah ta'ala, my book will be out soon on Amazon, and I'm very, very excited for it. No One Taught Me This. And once No One Taught Me This comes out, we will have a course about No One Taught Me This and have book clubs about that, inshallah ta'ala. And but before that, inshallah, we will discuss some of the tips, some of the points that are good, especially now that the school year is starting again. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of back to school routines, getting to bed early, waking up early, getting ready before the bus arrives or before we get into the car so that we can be on time to schools. The people who are in the schooling system, the homeschoolers, well, they have their own routines, but homeschooling in that sense, it can start later in the day too, depending on what kind of routines you have set up. So one of the things I would like to discuss today is empowering with the rules and discipline and plans reimagined. What does that mean? It means that when we have these plans, when we have this idea that this is how we want to run our household, when it comes to time, when it comes to routines, when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to asking our children to do something, do their homeworks on time, to finish the projects on time, get ready for their tests or exams. One of the things that we want to, some of the things that we want to teach our children, and if you're listening to this, you can note this down. Number one is autonomy. Now, autonomy means that they are able to do things by themselves. They are not yelling at the top of their throat and saying, "Ma, ba, where is this? Where is that? Where did you keep my this? Where did you keep my that?" At the exact moment when you have 200 other things to take care of, they're not yelling your name out because they cannot help themselves in doing the things that they can do. For example, getting their clothes ready, getting their socks out of whatever. This is about older children. About younger children, of course, if it's a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, you will teach them slowly and gradually how to have their own autonomy. Children do have autonomy when they say, "I don't want to wear this. I'm not going to wear this dress that you took out for me. I want to wear that dress." And I usually ask mothers, what is so problematic? And some of them said, "Well, it's really cold outside and the dress is for summer, it's not for winter." And I was like, they have to feel that cold. They have to understand that. They have to actually live it to see. And the next time, it will be more easier to say, wear warmer clothes. We can actually choose a night before warmer clothes for them, with them, not for them, with them. Give them a choice, this one or this one, and that goes on. Healthy boundaries, adaptability, problem solving, ownership of their actions, compassion, self-regulation. Self-regulation is one of the things that I keep talking about. And why? Because I, as an adult, realize that I do not have, or I had to develop self regulation in me while I was also on my parenting journey. Like, if I am getting triggered at every single thing, if I am not understanding my own body cues, if I'm not saying stop, and you have to stop, stop, breathe, and anchor yourself. People, yesterday in our inner tribe, of course we have supporting tribe and we have our inner tribe, and you're more than welcome to join, because when you get into our inner tribe, what you get is everyday, weekly group coaching, by myself and other fabulous coaches that we have in the parenting tribe. So in yesterday in our inner tribe, what was being discussed was how, so the question was, how do I stop myself from reaction when I am at my um, high, when I'm at my anxiety high, or when I am at my emotional meltdown high? And I responded to that by saying that the first thing is to understand that when we start this new practice of self-regulation, what's going to happen is we will still yell first before stopping ourselves, but while we are doing the action, which is harmful for us and for our child, our mind will start giving us signals that you are talking, you were not supposed to talk. Okay, it will happen. So if it was happening 10 times, it will reduce to 9 times. Then with more practice, 8 times. When then with more practice, then while you are in action, first the acknowledgement will be while you are in action of yelling or having that meltdown. Slowly and gradually, before you have that immediate urge to say something that might be hurtful, you will stop yourself. You will be able to stop yourself. But from 10 to 5, it will take time, it will take more practice. So self regulation requires practice and requires time. I found out something that I need to change in my parenting today. I'm going to start practicing it from tonight. And when I am practicing it successfully, it has a gap of, let's say, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, sometimes 6 years. There is no perfection to a skill of self regulation. There is only acknowledgement, and there is only being aware of it. Again, with us mothers, what happens is that we have our cycles, we have our monthly cycles, we have our PMS, um, we have our health issues too. And usually, what I ask and request mothers to do is, you cannot just keep asking, how can I stay calm, how can I stay calm? You actually have to take steps to stay calm. And self-awareness is one, but taking good diet is another. I ask mothers to nourish themselves, nourish yourselves with good foods, figure out what kind of mood swings you have, figure out if you can take medicine, whether it's herbal medicine, whether it's the normal root medicine, whatever, that will keep you calm, that will keep you less anxious, that will boost your mood. Eat the foods or fruits that boost your mood. Take supplements like vitamin D, vitamin K, with magnesium. I mean, I think that's one of the most powerful supplements that we can use. And I'm not saying it from a medicinal point of view. The things that I am doing for myself and that I've seen that help me have a stable mood, so that I can be, while I'm being self-aware, I can even have the ability to control, calm down. So we stop, we breathe, and we anchor within ourselves. We say, why am I getting so mad? We be curious about it. One of the ways to become from chaos to calm is this. We usually think that the kids are chaotic. No, it's our internal that is chaotic. If I have a dysregulated nervous system, if I have a bad mood, if I am in my period cycle where I do not have much control on my emotions, when I'm feeling low, the chaos is coming from within. The chaos is not that the kids are playing or yelling, or they're doing the kid stuff. They're doing what they're naturally built to do. But it's us who cannot handle that chaos at the moment. So it is extremely important to start from here. If a question starts from, what can I do to make the kids do this, or how can I control the kids, or how can I make them realize that they need to clean the house. What's happening is the chaos is I get anxious and anxiety when the house is not proper according to my standards. The questions that we need to ask is, what are my standards? Why are my standards so rigid? And I will talk about this, the difference between being rigid and flexible, the difference between creating a boundary or just giving ultimatums. What does that look like? So, the four types of value based family systems are agreements, boundaries, routines, and plans. Routines are extremely important, especially from young age onwards. Routines are extremely important. Routines give us structure. Boundaries are something that we keep creating over time according to the age group of our children. Agreements are where the family realizes, we sit together, we realize, we say this over and over again. As a family, we have agreed to this. As a family, this is what we would like to do, right? Plans, of course, if you're planning a trip, you're planning something, you're planning to go out, the plans and agreements work hand in hand. This is the plan. What do you think? Yeah, we think like this. No, I have a different opinion. Okay, we can take that into accountability. We can take that into our acknowledgement. But this is exactly how we're going to do it. We come to a middle center, right? Compassion for others, creativity, hard work, adventure, spirituality, kindness, playfulness, acceptance, neurodiversity. All of these things are basically something that are on the value system of a family. These are the values. We are going to be of taqwa mindset. We are going to be compassionate to each other. We are going to learn to self regulate ourselves. We are going to talk about how to self regulate ourselves. We are going to talk about sibling rivalry. Why do we feel the way we feel towards our siblings? How is it okay and not okay to behave with each other? Rules and agreements. So, what is the difference between rules and agreements? Rules are always rigid. You cannot eat this, drink this, have this. You cannot do this, right? You cannot do this. Absolutely, it's a no. Now, it's an exam night and you cannot let the child play for 5 hours, but can you allow the child to let off their steam by playing for an hour or two? Maybe yes, maybe no. But that is an agreement. That is not a rule. The rule is an absolute no. The agreement is maybe yes, if it's okay, if these boundaries have been of or if these agreements have been fulfilled. For example, you've completed these chapters, I will test you. Okay, fine, you've given the test, I will listen to you, or I want to listen to the memorization, or I want to spot test you. Okay, fine, after I spot test you and I feel you're confident enough to give the test, and I'm going to give you a half an hour break, 1 hour break. That's fine. With older children, with their complicated subjects, you might not be testing them, but what can you do? You can actually say, from this time to this time, go ahead, do whatever you need to do, and then come back or sleep or rest. Set as rules are set by adults only. Agreements are made collaboratively. Rules are punitive. Agreements are responsive. Punitive means, if you do this, I will take away this. Punishment style. Agreement is responsive is, this will cause and affect these results. The thing is the same. You just see how one person might feel helpless and how one person becomes responsible. One of the things that we learned in our inner tribe circle again is about codependency, and about how we go from wanting to punish other people or stop other people because we see them making wrong decisions and we want to stop them, so we are taking care of them. So mothers usually want to take care all the time for every single aspect because they think it's not happening the way in their head it's supposed to happen, right? So we go from wanting to do good, now the intention is extremely good, but it becomes a bad situation. It becomes anger, it becomes lashing out, it becomes name calling, it becomes so much more because, again, it was punitive. Rather, if it would have been an agreement where it would have been responsive, where there would have been a conversation, where somebody was able to take responsibility for their action and then gone through the consequences of it, it would have become much more easier. Controlling, right? Rules are controlling, whereas agreements save us bumpers. Yani, They help go forward from why did you do this? Why did you not do this? It gives us the it gives us some time to even think about our actions. There's something very particular about toddlers and teens. I'll just let me take a sip and then I'll say controlling. You tell a toddler, don't do this, they'll exactly go and do this. Don't put your finger here, they will do that. Don't pick up something from the floor, they're absolutely going to rub it on the entire floor and then eat it, right? And with teenagers also, I don't want you to dot 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 dot, I don't want you to don't do this. They will end up doing it. Both the teenagers and the toddlers, they in because they're making more connections in the brain. What's happening is that their brain at that point is wired to give to instantly work on pleasure, excitement, adventure. That's their focus, that's their goal. Sometimes you ask a teen, why did you do this, you knew already. They'll say, I don't know. They'll give this answer, I don't know. They really don't know, they really don't know what happened. And spiritually we might say, oh, they did not have control on their nafs. But it's more than it's not just that, it's not just self-control, it's also how the brain and hormone and the mechanics of it work, right? Rules are blaming and shaming, and agreements are in tune with the current capability or skill set. Rules are sometimes unattainable, whereas agreements are realistic. They teach and they guide, right? Example agreements from calm to chaos families. So respect each other's personal space and needs when possible. Accept each family's member's way of communicating the needs. Value each person's ideas and actions. Accept each other's mistakes and attempts to put it right. Consider school and homework a priority. Always have mac and cheese dinner nights on the meal plans. Do our best to use soft hands and gentle words. Be honest with each other even when it's hard. When I'm listening to this, when I'm reading this, what am I understanding? Of course, this does not apply to every family, but there are general rules that apply to every family, and we already have those rules in our deen, the taqwa rules, like be kind, be considerate, be compassionate. A parent first needs to be kind and considerate to themselves. There was a very nice conversation that happened in our inner tribe, and it was like, we have been raised a certain way. Now that has become our inner voice. We understand that our children, especially our teens, cannot deal with that kind of harsh behavior because that's the norm of their culture, the teens culture. Whether you are in Europe, whether you're in America, whether you are in Asia, East Asia, wherever you are, east or west, anywhere, like Ali radiallahu anhu said, that raise your children for the time that they were born in. Today's times are different and require a different kind of a skill set, but the basic is again the same that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us: kindness, forgiveness, compassion, and listening. Kindness, forgiveness, compassion, and listening. You can keep forgiveness for the last, and you can start with listening first. You can do that. And all of them are part of a taqwa built character. Taqwa is basically knowing, having fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and having hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it is more than that. It is something that we constantly and continually build in ourselves. It is the crushing of the ego. It is the crushing of the ego. It is the crushing of the angry waswas. I was not given this liberty. Why should I extend it to them? I turned out to be fine, or I hate myself now, or I am not happy where I am, but I don't want to spoil this for my children. So, again, people are of that mindset that we understand and we acknowledge that how we were raised, we cannot raise our children like that. Okay, fine, good acknowledgement. What's the next step? The next step is taqwa. Okay, what does taqwa require me to do? Taqwa requires me to understand what self regulation is, how to practice it, what is the difference between controlling my anger, controlling my ego, and listening. If I do not like a certain action, how long will it take me to process and able to come back to it? How can I say I need to stop? We need to stop this argument. We need to take time out. We will take time out and we will come back to this. How do we tell ourselves, even if I'm a parent, even if they're living under my roof, my rules, I'm still able to say, listen, they are a mature adult or they're maturing. And yes, they are in their years where they are more forcefully, they push back. Okay. But do I need them to push back? How can we become more collaborative? What are the things to become more collaborative? Listening, really listening. What we don't understand, what starts happening is, for example, a daughter comes up to a mother, and the mother is hijabi and the daughter is hijabi, and the daughter says, okay, fine, you know what, I'm going to remove hijab, I want to experiment. For a person who has lived their entire life before the birth of the child, that they have been having, they were brought up with the hijab, or they took the hijab in their teen years or in their college years or right after marriage, whatever the story is, for somebody who purposely took hijab so that it will become a part of our family fabric, for a child to come and say that, of course it instigates a lot of fear, it instigates hurt. You're hurt, you feel like I have taught you this and this is what you choose. But we will talk about this, inshallah ta'ala, in other examples as well, and roundtable conferences as well, how sometimes we do need to step back and we need to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide our children. Now that requires a lot of courage, that like requires a lot of patience, and that requires a lot of self-regulation, because every time she's going to go out without the hijab, you're going to have a trigger. I'm going to have a trigger. This is not what I taught her. Where did she pick this up? Where is this going to end? When is this going to end? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. If you start saying all of these things and not have the self control to internalize it and let it go and wait for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, yani, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving them wisdom and courage to take it back on, what's going to happen is you're going to push them further and further and further. This was just one example. The other example is when a teenager talks over their parents. What is happening when two angry people are talking to each other? Even if you take the example of you and your spouse in an argument, usually what's happening is one is talking on top of the other, or one starts to get so angry that they shut down, and the other keeps talking and talking and talking. And the person who's talking, they feel as if now, because the other person has kept quiet, it means that they're understanding, but they're not. 99% of the time, the other person is not understanding. They just shut down because they just knew that was the better way to just get it over with. What will happen later on? They said this to me and this was not fair. They said this to me and this was not fair. So we need to be open to say to our teenage children, you're adults, and we're going to respect your point of view. We're not going to crush your point of view, or we are not going to make you do what we want you to do. We want you to do. We are here to listen. Give that trust. Build that trust. We can definitely disagree. At the end of this conversation, we might still disagree, but it will be with mawadda. It will be with respectful disagreement. It won't have grudges in the heart. People can have different point of views. Parents have the right to put their foot down to certain things. No means no. But completely listen to the child, listen to their perspective, listen to the whole spiel that they want to say, so that it's out of their system. Okay. Assess your beliefs and thoughts about why the rule is important. When you're setting a rule, again, this is what I have been talking about. Assess it. Why is this so important to you? Connect. Before addressing the rule, build your positive interactions. Find proof of the times your child is successful at following this expectation, or is easier for them to do so. Ask yourself, what's in it for them? Why would this rule be important to your child? How does this rule affect their interests and preferences? Understand. Point number 3 is understand. This is about the rules. So point number 1 was, when you're putting down the rules, assess your beliefs and thoughts, right? Now, rules are basically not rigid, but they're flexible, they're fluid, and we call them agreements, right? Connect with them, understand, use the behavior funnel and behavior spiral to get the clear understanding of when and where is Is it hard for a child to come to an agreement or to follow a rule? Remain curious and open to finding out why this is not working. Empower your children with problem solving. Let them bring you solutions. Tell them this is not possible. What else can be done? Can we do this later? Can this be done then? And also be more creative. If the instant answer is no, no, then say, listen, let me think about it, really let me think about it, and then discuss it with them. This is what I thought, this is what I thought, this is what I thought, these are the things that came in front of me. Do you have any other ideas? You will be surprised to see how your thought process and their thought process, if you combine it together, you will find solutions. It's not always a rigid no. And usually a parent's no is because they don't want to do it. They definitely just don't want to do it. They don't want to budge. That is why a parent's no is a no. And it's nice to it's it's nice to push that no towards the child, because it gives us a sense of control, but a false sense of control. We are losing our relationship when we are exercising the right of no without having those open conversations, without having those um, agreements. Boundaries are clear guidance on how we want to be treated based on our own needs and preferences. Boundaries are how you communicate what you're comfortable and uncomfortable with. So one of the parents, she comes to me and she says, my child is this many years old, and I keep telling her to clean her room. She always says yes, but then she doesn't do it. Then I get angry, and then we have this frustration, and it shows in my behavior, and then I yell at her, and then she goes up and then she cleans it. So what is the boundary? How do I create a boundary here? And I'm like, whose need is it for the room to be clean? She says, mine. But I want her to learn the skill of being a clean person, of keeping things neatly away. I asked her, what is the urgency of it now? She says, because if she does not do it now, in a few years, she'll be out on her own and she will not know how to. I said, okay, so you are scared that she won't be able to keep her room clean in her adult life when she is on her own. She says, absolutely, yes. I said, okay, fine. That's a fair point. Point number two is, why is it so important for us? She said, well, I told you I want her to learn the skill. I said, why is it important in your house that her room is clean when you are also there to clean it for her? Because I don't want her to feel that people will come and do the work for them. I don't want her to feel that it's okay and somebody else will pick up your mess. No, you have to pick up your mess. I said, fair point. Fair point. Exactly. Okay, good. I said, okay, then why does she say yes, but she does not do it? What's happening? She says, I have no idea. She's sitting there, she's in her room, but she does not clean it. I have no idea what stops her from doing it. I said, when do you usually ask her to clean her room? She says, when it's absolutely a mess. I said, okay, let's figure this out. When a house is an absolutely mess, how do I or you feel? We feel overwhelmed. We want to procrastinate. We distract ourselves. It is something that's giving us unease, and we just let it be. We tend to become blind to something that is looming over our head. That is human psychology. Okay. I'm not even going to bring the ADD or ADHD or laziness into it. I'm just talking about simple human psyche. If I have 10 things to do, what does it take me to begin to do the first step? And how do I define what the first step is? We always start with, okay, you know what? Let me just finish the dishes first. Let me first clear the counter first. Let me start from a place where I can start first from. So I said, if we want to build the skill of children cleaning their rooms or cleaning their spaces or putting their clothes back into the closet or folding the laundry, we actually need to tell them, this is exactly where I need you to start from. What do you think? Small steps. Clean the entire room is a blanket statement. We can ask, your room does need rearrangement or cleaning. Where do you think you're going to start from? What is the first thing that you're going to do? Make it a step by step thing. I'm not saying every single time we're going to have that conversation, but when we are helping them learn a skill, we can start from here. I can help you put your laundry back. Let me know if yani, you're ready to do that. Or let's put the laundry back. I'm coming into your room. Let's put the laundry back. And then make them do the work. You do some, they do some. It's helping them. And after some time, I can tell you this with 100% assurity, usually teens like to take charge. They do like to take charge. It is only when they know that their mother will not let them do something a certain way, or their mother will object to them, why are you doing it like this, you're supposed to do it like this, they will leave. They will say, okay, fine, do it by yourself. I know it's unfair. As a parent, I understand it's unfair that the amount of sensitivity these beings have, these 13 to 18-year men and women have. Like, you say one thing that is not okay for them to hear, or that feels like a judgment, or that feels like being objected, and they're like, okay, fine, okay, fine, okay, fine. What is this? What is this? Like, have some resilience, and you have some character, and you have some yani, what is it called? You should be able to take some sort of it's not a negative comment, in fact, actually it's feedback. You should be able to take some sort of feedback. The reality is they're taking feedback constantly from the outside world, from their teachers, from the school, from the online world. They don't want feedback from this one space that they feel is safe for them, which is their home. So, am I never supposed to tell them what to do? No, we are supposed to tell them what to do. And they will be able to take feedback if they are attuned. The word is attuned to taking kind feedback, loving feedback. Again, it goes back to the same, how you've started their childhood, how you have built that relationship. They will listen. I know this for a fact, that our children want to be nurtured, want to be loved, and they want to be felt as if they are appreciated and they are seen. They are seen and they are heard. The kind words, the kind tone, the soft tone will help us develop that. If it has not happened in their childhood and we're doing it later in their teens, it will take more effort, but it will happen. With boundaries, they teach something. They say that, here's the thing about boundaries. For those who are new to having them and setting them, boundaries are not about other person's actions, but about your response to them. You have zero control over other person's thoughts, actions, and decisions. The only thing you can control is you. How you let others know what you like or dislike, how you interact afterwards, after those boundaries are being made. So I'll give an example. For example, in your control is your action, not others' feelings. So if I want to make a boundary, you cannot hit me, right? You cannot hit me when you're angry. Then with a younger child, you can say that firmly. You cannot hit me when you're angry, but they still hit you. What is the boundary? I am going to stay here with you, and you can hold their hands. You cannot hit me. You can stop them, or you can say that. Hitting, you cannot hurt me by hitting. I will listen to you. You can use your words. This is my boundary, right? This is what I want them to do. This is how I am going to protect themselves. There was this, I'm forgetting, Lisa, not Lisa German. She has written a book. She's very famous on Instagram. She's a child psychologist, and she says, a boundary for me when my two children are in the same room and they're hitting each other is not telling them to not hit. We don't hit in this house. We don't hurt each other. This is not what we do. This is not how I'm reinforcing the boundary. I take one into one room and take them into two. I say this to them. I am going to keep you, I'm going to ask you to go to your separate rooms because you are not being safe for each other. In this house, the agreement is that we are safe towards each other. This is how you will reinforce the boundary, instead of just staying away and saying, stop doing this. How many times have I told you not to do this? That is not reinforcing the boundary. The boundary is, I am going to do this now because this is not what we had agreed upon. I am going to do this now because you are enforcing what you can do. You're not stopping what the other is already doing, because you, again, it's just going to become messy. Your values and others, so in control is your values, other thoughts are others thoughts, your choices, others actions, your role, others responses, how you show up, how others words show up, how you spend your time, how other people react, right? When making boundaries as a family, it's important that you create a few simple boundaries each person agrees upon, about personal space, consent, and autonomy. Think everyone has the right to refuse to hugs or tickles if they don't want them. Instead of focusing on parent driven boundaries such as, I can't let you do this or that, the shift is in the value based family system, puts the emphasis on modeling and teaching how to set personal boundaries, how to advocate for your own needs, how to listen and adhere to people's boundaries. While I read this, I understood children usually say, but we don't respect their boundaries. You know what children say? I don't want to share my toy. It's a boundary. But we don't respect it. We say, no, but sharing is caring. You should share. You should learn to share. And parents are valid when they say, if I don't teach them how to share, how will we share? But when the emotion is high, so this is the difference. This is the subtle difference that we need to learn. When a person's meltdown emotion is high, that is not the place and time to make them realize logic. If I am on my emotional high and I am having a meltdown with my husband, and my husband says, behave properly, how are you behaving? That's not the time. Yeah, I mean, as a human being, as a grown adult, yes, ittaqallah, people remind, like, fear Allah, what are you saying? You use your words like with caution. Why are you doing this? Yes, an adult can and should be able to back down. Then yes, it's an adult's responsibility. I will not say, no, no, you cannot tell a meltdown person to stop. You should. An adult is an adult. They have a fully developed brain. They should know how to self control. They should know how to self regulate. They should know how to stop using harmful words or harmful actions towards the other person. They should. But with teenagers and with younger children, they're still developing that adab. They're still developing it in their character. They're still bringing it to their awareness. So we have to be a little bit softer and kinder to them. We have to generate more empathy for them. We have to generate like, when I'm saying have to, it means that it's not going to come to us naturally. I'm already acknowledging that we are people who have our own pasts. We are people who have our own triggers. We are people who are unhealed. We are people who are on the process of healing. We are people who are triggered by something outside of our control. Yes, but children, no matter what age they are at, as long as they're not adults, like they're not, I'm not talking about 30-year-old or 40-year-old children. I'm talking about 0 to at least 20, 0 to 20, 21, 22, right? These people, they do require our extra energy of empathy and extra understanding and extra. And when I say this, I don't mean to say they will not respond or they will not reciprocate. They will. The extra will become lesser and lesser, and it will become so much more easier to connect and communicate with them if we do the extra effort in the younger years, or in the repair years, like in the teen years, right? If we've done damage in the younger years, we have to now repair it in the teen years, and eventually you will see the results. I am not saying to assume that nothing good will ever come out and I am the one or you are the only one who has to make that extra effort. I am saying have husnul dhan, yani कि think good. In fact, actually believe that they are able to reciprocate to your kindness, to your compassion, to your self-regulation, to your self-control. But give it time, have some patience. You will see the positive results of it. Boundaries and other family systems are created ahead of the moment, so everyone involved is on the same page, right? Limits and consequences versus boundaries and results. So this is the last thing that I'm going to discuss, and then inshallah ta'ala we're going to end this live. Limits and consequences can be, you can't hit me. If you hit me, I'm going to take that toy away. If you hit me, this is going to happen. If you hit your sister, this is going to happen, etc., etc., right? Boundaries would be, I don't want to be hit. Like I said, I don't want to be hit. Your children should be able to say that to their siblings. Their siblings should be able to communicate that with each other and with their friends, with their cousins, younger. This is about younger children, right? I don't want to be hit. I don't like how you yell at me, is my boundary. And if a child is saying that, listen to it, because that will give you the initial shock that my child said this to me. But also, if you're a self aware person and if you're a taqwa minded person, you will say, yeah, they're right. I should not be yelling at them. I should stop. I should learn to self-regulate myself, to have self-control. What is the difference between self-regulation and self-control? Self-control sounds as if something I'm purposely doing and I'm not able to put a fix to it, and then shaming and blaming comes and the guilt comes in. But if we understand self-regulation, it means, yes, I know I leak in my emotions, or I leak how I react, and instead of normal reaction I give an overreaction. So I need to learn to self-regulate. Once you self-regulate, once you know to stop and breathe and anchor yourself, once you know to take your steps away, once you know to let the steam out, breathe some little, let it go, let it sleep for the night, come back to the conversation again with a fresher mindset, with a fresher pair of eyes and ears. That is how you give time to self-regulate, and eventually self-control will come too. Limits are, go to timeout. Boundaries are, I will step away when you're angry. Limits and consequences, don't talk to me in that tone. Boundaries are, I don't want to be yelled at. Consequences and limits are, go to your room. Boundaries and results are, when you call me names, I will stop talking and wait, which means I'm giving you a chance to understand what you're doing. Not necessarily the other person will understand what you're doing, but if they're younger children, but it gives them time to calm down. Younger children, right? Even the adults, like the teens. Limits and consequences are, you didn't eat what I made for dinner, so no food for you. Boundaries and results are, I'm making dinner. If you want something you like, I need your input. If you want something you like, I need your input. And if that is something that is not what you would not what you would like to give them, for example, you're making some simple food because you're tired and you just want to feed the family, and they ask you for something lavish. I will give you an example of um, whatever simple foods you all eat, like, yeah, and they ask you for something that's more complicated, that has 10 more steps. We can say, at this point, this is something that I can afford to make, or I can make because I'm tired too. Can we make this some other day? Let's pick a day when we will have this for lunch or for have dinner. You can ask them. This will give them the autonomy to choose. This will give you the relaxation that, you know what, you're not saying an absolute no. It's not rigid, it's fluid, right? Inshallah ta'ala. I hope these were some helpful tips. Jazakallahu khair. I'm really looking forward for my book to be up on Amazon soon, soon, soon. Please make du'as that it comes out soon, inshallah ta'ala. No one taught me this. As you all know, Sister Sarah has started um, uh, this new project where she is training the virtual assistants, the women, to become independent and use their creativity and knowledge to be able to earn while being at home. So definitely look into that. Again, Love Learning Online is a platform where your children can have fantastic education. As homeschoolers, I know I'm always in need of good teachers, good platforms for their education. So please look into that as well. We have a supporting tribe and we have an inner tribe, which we, especially with the inner tribe, we have coaching sessions with our sisters who are enrolled in inner tribe. We have group coaching, we have one-on-one coaching. So definitely look into that option. The parenting tribe has continuously and consistently been able, and this is our dua, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, that we keep showing up for the families, all around the world, for the Muslim families all around the world. And our intention and our effort is so that we have safe, loving, taqwa minded homes where we can build our children's character, nurture them with love and kindness, with the understanding of Quran and Sunnah, with the understanding of compassion and mercy, and enable them to live confident lives, to live lives that are not coming from unhealed traumas and then getting to understand themselves, something that they are built with, so that the communities that they make, the societies that they move in, are are progressive in a way where they're talking about solving world problems rather than just sitting down and thinking, I need to do this on me and I need to do this on me. You understand? Like, we want to build our children with the emotional safety, with this understanding of empathy and compassion, and this leadership skill that is absolutely needed to to thrive, not in this dunya only, but in akhirah as well. So jazakallahu khair, everybody. Take care. Inshallah, see you on next Thursday live. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.